So the movie is called Paper Birds. I'm the director, Herman Heller, and this is Kane, as executive producer.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, you made me watch it for 30 minutes, and it was pretty amazing technology. Your goggles way better than the ones that I got before pandemic. Tell me a little bit about technology.
The technology. Okay, so technology is one of the first motivations to kind of do this kind of content, this different way of telling a story. And particularly, I can speak about the Oculus Quest 2 and the Oculus Quest in general. This project is financed by the company that creates these headsets, Facebook, and it's an amazing product. It's really inspiring to create different ways of using these techniques. Like, we're not only having the ability to move in a space in 6 degrees of freedom, but you also can just have your hands inside this other reality, and then you can interact with the story. So particularly for this project, it was really important, the innovative part on the technology side that made us really want to try stuff.
For the first who wants to watch that, what's the process? Like, we have YouTube space here in Europe, we have Facebook space, Instagram space. Do they have to come to those locations, or it's people buy the equipment at home? How people can experience that story?
I mean, once you have the headset, which is something you can buy anywhere, like in any electronics store or online, then you have something like the App Store or the Play Store for phones, in which you just purchase apps or content or games, and then they download to your headset, and you can experience those really easily. And the platform is their own of Facebook itself. It's called the Oculus Store.
Okay, now let's talk a little bit about the movie itself and the surroundings behind it. It's pretty much, yesterday was the last day at Tribeca, right?
Yeah.
So Tribeca is over, but you're part of the Tribeca Film Festival. What this week did for you? Like, what did you accomplish this week? Who did you meet? Did you meet with Revolver? Like, did you like the Hudson Yards? Like, what was the experience of Tribeca for the film? What was the accomplishment?
So, to be super honest, like, it was mostly about getting out to the world a little bit, because it's like, I mean, it wasn't so much. I mean, the festival was fun and everything, but being around people, being around creators, like having conversations with other artists, like human conversations, not Zoom conversations. To be honest, that was what really made the most difference.
What was the most significant?
So we got a nice kind of like cocktail party in which we interacted with all the other creators in the festivals and shared experiences about how it was to work during the pandemic, and I spoke with friends that I haven't seen for a long time. And if I had to say, the most significant conversation was even with my co-director Federico Carlini, that is not here, that we did like this really beautiful kind of like post-mortem of the whole project, 3 hours in Washington Square. But I mean, and it was mostly having the space and the context to really like integrate all this period of time which we were working on this project.
Can you talk a little bit about the crew, the talent that you brought? You had Edward Norton, you had an amazing.
You want to take this one?
Sure. I mean, the first person we cast in the role of Toto, the main role, is Archie Yates. He made a splash in Jojo Rabbit, and now he's going to be the new star of Disney Plus's Home Alone. I think working with Herman and the team at 3DAR and our team at Baobab, we really wanted to go for the gold in terms of talent. We're super honored that we got our top choice as a male lead in the role of the young grandfather in Edward Norton, whom we were actually able to record in person near the end of the pandemic, ahead of Tribeca Film Festival, and really talk about art and technology and innovation, and sort of like how we can push the boundaries of cinema and entertainment and storytelling in ways that are completely different. So he's he's someone who actually really believes in innovation and was an early investor in Oculus, actually, which we didn't actually know until we met him. And he completely took the role and elevated the film to a new level. And we also worked with this amazing musician actress, Joss Stone, who also elevated the film. It was like each time we added a voice, there was an incredible layer of talent and depth and texture and richness that we hadn't had before. And so being able to see Herman be able to direct and interact with these actors was a real sort of human touch and experience during a time when we were all very separated.
Can you talk a little bit about the story? Like, I watched it for 30 minutes, right? Like, what inspired the story? What do you want to accomplish with the story? Where the story takes you?
Yeah, you should take this.
So, in a way, doing virtual reality is much different than doing a feature film. So, the story is a way of taking, like, it takes you somewhere that you're going to resonate with, and the idea is that you go on a journey. In a way, it is a little bit like a poem in many ways, because it leaves a lot of room for what resonates to you, you know. But it's just like another kind of poetry. The story has to do with disappointment when you're like having this idealized idea of somebody that is your mentor, and you just follow them blindly, and then you get the surprise of, no, this is not what I wanted. This is not what I thought it was. So that is the true awakening of like yourself as a decision maker in your life, in a way. So it's like, it's a metaphor of that, together with the seek for inspiration, how we're looking for inspiration in our lives, which is a true mystery. Where are the ideas coming from? Where are the desires, or like where is the guidance of life coming from? So that's the symbology of the Paperverse, which are this symbol for the synchronicities of life, these coincidences that show you where to go sometimes, and it's also showing both sides, because it has like two sides: the side of the seeker, the side of like the one that wants to go and find the truth, and it also has the other side, the side of the one who's protecting something that doesn't want to show, and it's like trying to hide the truth. It's no, because like when you're looking for something, there are two opposing forces. So it's this is the two sides. So the side of the grandfather is the one that is like embarrassed, the one that feels like it's not good enough, so it's defending something, and spoiler alert, ultimately everything that is a lie is gonna fall apart at some point, and that's what happens in the story. And after it falls apart, then both get freed, the one that is looking for the truth and the one that is protecting the lie. So that's a little bit of what the story is about. Maybe too much, but
okay. What's the target audience? Who do you think would be watching this film? What's the distribution?
Totally, it's a great question. In a way, since this is a new way of telling a story, like this is an experience. It's a 30-minute experience, and it's not meant for children only. Like, and if it's yeah, it's like, I would say 13 plus at the least, but it's also like meant for adults, because it's like, it has many elements of that you could relate to and feel like a child again, or just like it takes you to scenes that are very iconic, things that you probably lived once, like when you go to a jazz concert, when you go in a trip in a cable car in the mountains, or the feeling of this world falling apart with a storm, you know, all these things are very relatable to all of us. So the target is really all the audiences there. And
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the characters, our actors, our talent, it's a multi-generational story that takes place during several different time periods. And you know, I think that there's sometimes a preconceived notion, you know, in North America, that animation has to just be for kids. But I think the exciting part for our studio, Baobab, which is based in San Francisco Bay Area, and this is our 5th or 6th Tribeca to work with 3DAR based in Argentina, is that we can work with a global crew and team to push the boundaries of what an audience for animation really is, and to use VR and immersive technologies to expand that audience and sort of like traditional preconceived notions of animation just being Saturday morning cartoons. This was this was meant for people of all ages and all cultures.
Totally.
Can you talk a little bit about, I can imagine how much data it takes, because for me, like when I render that stuff in VR, it takes a lot of memory. Like, what's the technology behind this in terms of the computer power that you need to render something like that? Edit it. It's a tremendous amount of space in my thing, right?
Do you want to?
Yeah. So it's an interesting question. There is no rendering in VR because everything is rendered in real time. When you see a movie, it's a video file that you play from the beginning to the end, and it's always the same. But if you're watching something inside a headset that is reactive to your movement and reacting to whatever you're going closer, leaning forward, then the image that is created has to respond to your movements. Then there is no way you can create all this infinity of possibilities how you're gonna move. So that technology creates the image at the moment that you move. So what you do is like the whole structure of the whole scene in 3D, and you get everything ready for the headset with this amazing power of processing to create 72 images per second, depending on what position and what orientation you are at the moment. So there is no rendering time, but it's like a hell lot of work to create everything so it looks good from every angle. Because like when you're shooting a movie, you just have like all the artists, like all the lighting and everything, and you have everything just thought and crafted for a single framing. For VR, you have to consider all the possibilities. So it's a lot more work of creating the sets, a lot more work of animating the characters so they look good from every angle, not just from a camera. So the workload is not about the rendering anymore. It's about just like making sure every angle works.
I got you a little bit crazy here in the goosebumps. Thank you so much for your time. Is there any closing remarks that you maybe want to share with the audience? Why should they watch this movie? Why should they wait for your next creation? What's the message to the world?
So what I think, this is a movie to really experience and let yourself touched by, and especially from the music. Like the music, it's really a bridge to get you to your like inner core, to your emotions. And to be really honest, this whole VR experience is in service of the music that comes with it. Music is the heart of the piece. So I could say put some good headsets on and try to let the music in and enjoy the experience. Don't try to intellectualize it too much, and just like it's an experience, let it sink in, and I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, it'll be available for you to download on the Oculus Quest. The release date is July 8th. So everyone...
Facebook?
Is
there a Facebook app?
Yes, it's the Oculus Facebook app on the Oculus Quest headset. So it'll be available on the Oculus Facebook platforms for the entire world in just a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.